My name is Johnny Maplecock.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 TV shows known for letting their actors improvise.
See, I thrive on this. This is my world. This is improv. This is whose line is it anyway?
For this list, we'll be looking at TV shows where the cast are encouraged to go off script, play around with dialogue, and keep their castmates on their toes. We're not including improv shows like Whose Line Is It Anyway, since that could be its own list. Which TV show has the best unscripted moments? Let us know in the comments. Number 10, Scrubs. Medical staff need to be quick on their feet, and that just happens to be a quality the Scrubs cast shares with their fictional counterparts.
So now that is why I call you names like Carol, Jane, and Sue, like Moesha, Kim and Lily, and Suzanne and Betty Lou.
Indeed, some of the show's best running gags started with a little ad-lib, from the idea of calling JD girl names, to Turk's chocolate bear nickname, and the first emphatic cry of Eagle. Eagle! Neil Flynn, who played the janitor, was particularly encouraged to go off script. According to Zach Braff, the writers would leave gaps in the script for Flynn to improvise to his heart's content, knowing whatever he'd come up with would be pure hilarity.
Because the writers would be like midnight, and they'd be like, I don't know, whatever we're going to say he's going to beat anyway, so just have him come up with a punchline. It would say like parentheses, Neil makes up something funny here.
And they were not wrong. There's never a dull moment when the janitor's on screen.
What's the big deal?
What's the big deal? Well, the good Lord didn't bless my wife with all 10 fingers. She's only got pointer and thumb pinky.
Number 9, Web Therapy. This series about an impatient, self-centered therapist with dubious credentials began as a web series before being adapted for television.
Okay, well, congratulations. I have to be honest with you, I'm not perfectly comfortable treating a psychic because I don't really believe in that particular brand of fraud.
In it, Fiona Wallace, played by Lisa Kudrow, condenses the usual hour-ish therapy sessions into bite-sized time slots in an attempt to revolutionize the field. Kudrow shared that she and co-creators Don Roos and Dan Bukatinsky would outline the plot and let the actors fill in the rest.
I feel a connection, somehow.
Well, I did win the American Law Association of America Award 3 years running, the Allah.
The series had a pretty stacked recurring cast, including Victor Garber, Lily Tomlin, Alan Cumming, and Rashida Jones. The list of guest stars is no less impressive, and includes several of her former Friends co-stars, as well as Jane Lynch, Steve Carell, Billy Crystal, Meryl Streep, and many others.
I'm in New York, so maybe that's why. My friend Austin Clark, I'm in his Manhattan sort of pied-à-terre right now, you know.
His what?
Pied-à-terre. It's his apartment.
I thought that meant potato.
Number 8. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
And it's so damn funny what he wrote and your reaction to it, that it's a good example of yes and, where it's like, I don't know, you just have to be looking for those moments and then just run with them.
This sitcom is typically known for its more adult sense of humor. Would you believe that the stuff that makes it on air is generally more subdued than what ends up on the cutting room floor?
Okay, let's go through the basic beats. All right. Talk a bunch of Latin.
Yeah, that's me. I'll fake it.
What do you mean you'll fake it? You don't know your Latin anymore?
No, don't worry about it. I can sell anything, you know?
Reportedly, behind the scenes, the cast is encouraged to keep things fresh and would often come up with even darker and more risque material that certainly wouldn't make it to air. Even so, a fair bit of unscripted moments do make the final cut.
The Democratic vote for me is right thing to do, Philadelphia. So do. This doesn't make any sense.
All right, well then, just say whatever you want.
Charlie Day reportedly said that some of the show's best moments, quote, come because it was well scripted and then it leads to a better idea or joke. Still, given the show's zany humor, we can't help but wonder what didn't make it.
Go for it. Go for it. Ooh, go for it.
Number 7, The Thick of It. Much like a seasoned improviser, spin doctors need to be sharp-witted. Peter Capaldi's belligerent, foul-mouthed director of communications Malcolm Tucker and his co-workers fit the bill perfectly.
Also drafted your letter of resignation.
Gives you the chance to say that you're jumping before you're pushed, although obviously we're going to be briefing that you were pushed, sorry.
According to Capaldi, about 80% of the dialogue we hear is from the original script, while the rest is unscripted to add a layer of authenticity. Apparently, the crew used handheld cameras and radio microphones so that they could catch any usable ad-libs even if the actors were off camera.
He's our best source.
What for? Raw sewage? All right, just start a Tom story, all right? But just as the spine, don't elaborate, just keep your options open, all right?
The cast was given free rein to play with their lines, and the best bits were later pieced together in editing. The result was chaotic, abrasive, and hysterical. It also helped make even the most left-field moments feel somewhat believable.
People often sort of talk about the amount of improvisation in the thick of it, but the truth of it is that it's more to do with, it wasn't really improv in the kind of, we weren't making the stuff up.
Number 6, Murderville. Murder mysteries typically require a lot of forethought and planning. Who done it? How did they do it? And what was their motive?
Are you kidding?
Ladies and gentlemen.
That is sorcery!
Am I...
That's incredible!
No one gets that excited about it.
Well, in this murder mystery comedy, Will Arnett plays Terry Seattle, a hapless detective who, in each episode, alongside a celebrity guest star, must get to the bottom of all those questions. The twist? The guest stars aren't given a script and have little idea what awaits them.
Perfect. And you have a signature sound. What's your signature sound?
Instead, they have to improvise their way to a conclusion and name the killer. It's almost like a live-action game of Clue, but, you know, with fewer clues and more hilarity.
You are correct.
Wow.
Amazing work. The killer was obviously the kindergarten teacher.
Number 5, The Office. While answering fan questions for TV Guide, Jenna Fisher, who played Pam Beasley, shared that everything from small pauses to acknowledging the camera was scripted.
You are so right. You are so right. Because before I lived here, the glass was always covered in smudges. And I moved in and I cleaned it. So I guess that makes me the double.
That isn't to say that the cast never went off script. She shared that Steve Carell and Rainn Wilson would often play around with their dialogue and come up with new punchlines.
Flesh-eating bacteria. Hot dog fingers. Government-created killer nanorobot infection.
In another interview, Oscar Nunez shared that he and Angela Kinsey would develop bits that would ultimately make their way into the show. But it's not all about getting the laughs. According to Fisher, Carell didn't know that the cast would sing to him in his final episode as a season regular, so his reaction is genuine.
In costumes.
And impressions. In meetings.
In cups of coffee.
For birthdays. More meetings and
email forwards you made us read.
9,986,000 minutes. That's like watching Die Hard 80,000 times.
Number 4, Outnumbered. Outnumbered followed the Brockmans, a British family living in a West London neighborhood. The title refers to the parents who are indeed outnumbered by their 3 outspoken and rather rowdy kids, Jake, Ben, and Karen.
Why should you be my apprentice? Because I am a winner. I don't even know the meaning of the word loser, and I have never, ever felt anything in my entire life.
Part of the show's charm was that these kids sounded like, well, kids. And that's because, although there was a fully formed script, the young actors were encouraged to make up their dialogue. After all, who knows better how to talk and act like a child than a child?
Good Friday, that's a weird name for a day when somebody gets crucified. It should have been called something like Ouchie Friday, or Oh no, I'm being crucified Friday, or
Ouchie Friday.
The directors would set up the scene and just let their young cast be themselves. They were unfiltered and hysterical. Whoever said you can't work with children has clearly never seen Outnumbered.
But I'd rather have a mustache than a baby, because then you could just shave it off if you change your mind, and you can't do that with a baby.
Shut up. Ow!
Number 3, Parks and Recreation. Amy Poehler once told Reuters that while Parks and Rec is primarily scripted, the creators often leave time for a fun run, which is when the cast is allowed to run wild.
Leslie, I typed your symptoms into the thing up here and it says you could have network connectivity problems.
She added that the punchlines the audience typically hears are scripted, but, quote, there's a certain amount of spirit of improvisation. The cast really ran with that, resulting in some of the series' most memorable moments. Heck, even the occasional guest star brought their ad-lib A-game. During a panel, co-creator Michael Schur revealed that he was furious that Andy Dwyer actor Chris Pratt came up with what he considers to be one of the series' funniest lines on a whim.
I'm still really upset and angry. He did it once. The camera happened to be on him. He did it once, and I think it's the funniest joke that's ever been on our show. It's my favorite joke.
Number 2, The League. This sitcom is about 6 highly competitive friends in a fantasy football league. It didn't follow a traditional script per se, but more of a detailed plot outline.
But I mean, as far as like Rob said, a specific line, there aren't any. So that kind of gives us the freedom to create moments and go off on tangents and find other funny things.
The cast would experiment and play around while the cameras rolled, allowing the creators to mine out the comedy gold later.
Did you just turn this into a league event?
Bet your ass I did.
It's really good. We're not rooting for Ellie.
No, number 7.
Come on, 7, come on!
While this method encouraged everyone to try and be the funniest person in the scene, it was also a collaborative effort. For instance, the actors would share jokes if they thought they were more suited to a different character.
How hard is it to hang out on a beach in Mexico? Is there a how to hide your glaring lack of knowledge from your friends for dummies? Because that's when you should have bought.
A lot of what made it to air was hilariously over the top and utterly ridiculous. You don't need to be a sports fan to enjoy all their shenanigans.
You talking about the Sacco?
I am talking about the trophy formerly known as the Sacco, now called the Ruxin, Exhibit A, your address.
Don't you worry your cute little pancake face about it. It's there, it's up.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Dog Bites Man. This news crew would interview unsuspecting passersby.
Behind me stands one young man who has committed his life to bodybuilding. More specifically, I'm just gonna keep going. I'm just gonna start over.
Bosom Buddies. Tom Hanks and Peter Scolari share witty improvised banter as 2 men in disguise living in a female-only building.
So what do you say, Henry? Do we stay?
On one condition.
What's that?
Tomorrow, I get to wear the crepe scarf.
Reno 911. A cop show mockumentary with a record of great improv.
And yes, there's Cabernet in this cup, all right? I won the lottery last night. You know why? Because I willed it to happen, huh?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like Seinfeld before it, Curb Your Enthusiasm finds humor in life's more mundane moments. How better to exemplify relatability than freeing actors from the constraints of a script?
Know that the hair wasn't going to grow back. Yeah. I mean, because she's a bright girl.
She has a vivid imagination.
No, I'm sure she does.
This is another instance where the writers devised a general direction for the scenes and let the actors wing it. Of course, this retro scripted technique keeps everyone on their toes, from those on camera to those behind it, as things can change on a dime and you just have to go with the flow.
There's kind of a social contract that you enter when you open that door. They say a trick or treat. I would advise you give the treat.
Why don't you just give him the candy next time, Larry?
Yet this cast and crew work like a well-oiled machine. The gritty realism and phenomenally talented cast have kept audiences coming back for a little over 2 decades now.
Do you respect wood, Susie?
Yes, I do respect wood. Why?
You've demonstrated a consistent lack of respect for wood, as I see
I don't know what you're getting at. I don't know what this is about.
I'll tell you what I'm getting at. I see a ring stain on your table.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.